Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of, oh wait, that's not Eric, the Super Data Brothers Super Show. You want to do it?
Yeah.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of
Super Data Brothers.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Eric. Oh, wait, actually, I'm not Eric. I'm Greta, special guest today.
That's right, Eric. Eric wasn't able to join us today. So we are live at the WIT Great Lakes Analytics Data and AI Conference here in Troy, Michigan, in the beautiful suburbs of Detroit City.
That's right.
So figured to do a quick show live on location to kind of clue you guys into what's going on at the conference, and more importantly, to give you tips on how to do data conferences right. So that's why I asked Greta to join us. So as always, folks, this is a live show. It is more fun for us. It is more fun for you if you get your reactions, questions, comments into the chat, and we will shout you out. Like Daniel joining us. Hello, Daniel. Good to see you there. And of course, this wonderful StreamYard integration. Lynn, thank you for the tip. So Lynn, the LinkedIn integration with StreamYard is suboptimal. And that's why you get that long delay on LinkedIn. If you want the freshest possible Super Data Brothers show experience, you got to go to YouTube, folks. And that's where the delay is much lower. Okay. So tell us where you're watching from. We'll give you a shout out in the chat and we will answer your questions. Now, I asked Greta to join me today. Greta, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
About me. Well, I work at Good Data with you, Ryan, which you know. Ryan's actually my manager. So I was coerced to come on today. I'm going to put that out there. But no, just kidding. About me. So I've been in BI and analytics for 12, 13, maybe a little longer years. I have a consulting background. I moved then into delivery, and now I'm in product strategy and product marketing, which has been really, really fun. And I don't know, I like to play tennis, and I've been going to a lot of conferences lately. So this is a very relevant topic, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, we are on the conference circuit here at Good Data, which if you watch the show regularly, you know that we've been pushing all the conferences that you can catch Eric or I at, including Data Day Texas. So shout out to Lynn in the chat, who is the organizer of Data Day, one of the finest data conferences in the land. Okay, so the topic today then is how to do data conferences right. If you're going to a data conference, what is it that you need to do? What is it you need to not do to get the most out of the experience? That's what we're going to cover today. So
that sounds good.
Yeah. So Greta, you mentioned you've gone to a lot of data conferences. I'm curious, before we get into the tips, how would you say data conferences have changed over the years?
That's a good question. Well, I would say earlier in my career, I was attending conferences like, IBM, I can't even remember. It's been a while now. IBM's like annual conference, or some of the big analyst conferences, stuff like that. They're a little bit more formal. And, you kind of, as a vendor, I'm usually there as a vendor, you kind of stick to the booth. Maybe you have a presentation. It's a little, you're definitely on your A game as far as, I don't even know how to put it, but it's more of a formal feel. I think in the last year or so, let's see, I've been at DBT Coalesce. We were at Data Council Austin. Now we're here at Great Lakes Analytics Summit. It's just a little bit more casual, but I feel like that actually results in more meaningful conversations. People are more apt to come up to you. They're not scared of the sales pitch, again, as a vendor. They just want to connect, kind of hear what cool stuff is going on. And yeah, I'm very much enjoying this flavor of tech conference compared to the ye olden days tech conferences.
Yeah, I would say I would agree. Like it used to be a lot more formal, especially, everything in our industry emanates out from Silicon Valley, it feels like, and the vibe has also emanated out from Silicon Valley. So here we're at a conference in Detroit, and it's a lot less formal and than it may have been, 5 or 10 years ago. Right. Certainly before the pandemic. Like the pandemic is especially a big break where even the stuffiest conferences, I would imagine the IBM conference now is practically people in t-shirts and flip-flops.
Yeah, I mean, Exhibit A, even just wearing literally a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's great. It's awesome.
Has anything changed about the people who are attending analytics conferences over that time?
That's a good question. I don't know that things have changed overall, but maybe from what I've seen and like the dichotomy of like those bigger vendor analyst conferences versus some of the more community driven conferences, there's definitely more practitioners trying to get, into real world scenarios. How do we solve this problem or whatever, rather than, getting a formal pitch and a long drawn out process or most likely trying to avoid getting the pitch is what I think we see at some of the bigger conferences. So I think it's just more practitioners, more grassroots feeling of community, and more collaboration. I mean, even vendor to vendor, right? Like this morning, everyone's good morning. Oh, saw you here, saw you there. Like there's just a really strong community feel.
Yeah, that's definitely different. Definitely different.
Less competitive, more collaborative.
Yeah, I a lot of that, especially at the conferences like Coalesce or like Coalesce, especially the whole heart of DBT in many ways is like their Slack, So it makes sense that you'd have a more of a community feel like that. And certainly a conference like Day to Day is community. There are vendors there, but it's really the community that's driving everything at the Day to Day conference. Atanas, good to see you again here on the Super Data Brothers show. Regular viewer there, Atanas. Nice. He's a cool dude. I met him in Barcelona at a conference.
Another conference.
Okay, so conferences, better vibe than they used to have. So if you're an attendee at a conference, then let's go through the list. What are the things, like what's one of the top things you think an attendee should do to get the most out of a data conference?
I'm going to keep my attendee hat on because, like I said, usually I'm attending as a vendor, but sometimes I like to sneak away to attend the sessions and stuff too. So I can put the attendee hat on. Okay, so I jotted down 6 things here. The first one was actually what you asked me first. Tell me about yourself. Why are you here? What are you looking for? You've really got to know your kind of 30-second kind of pitch. Like, who are you? What do you do? It's the basics. Any intro that you do at any meeting should cover it. But a little bit, if you can make it a little bit more interesting, drop in something for people to remember you by. I think that helps because not only are you attending, right, to maybe solve a problem in your business or whatever, but so much of it is also networking. And so the more kind of a little bit unique or stand out, maybe something you can mention or something that you can connect with someone on, the better, I would say.
Yeah. So then what do you think are good ways to have that pitch? And what I mean is like, what should it include? Is it, hi, I'm Ryan and I work here and this is what I'm focused on, or what would you put in that kind of elevator pitch?
I think at a tech conference, you can include the tech stack that you work on, maybe some pain points that you're having, what you're trying to accomplish by being here. Is it like, you're actually sourcing a new tool or something, or are you just here for the networking? Are you just here for the swag? Like, like just be honest. What are you here for?
Yeah.
And then also like location based, where are you coming from? That people can always connect with that, and just throw in as much as possible, but keep it concise.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So number 1, have your pitch down. How to describe yourself, who you are, what you do. The tech stack one is interesting because at conferences, especially at kind of more vendor neutral conferences or conferences where, if you're at Snowflake, obviously everybody's going to have Snowflake, right?
That's a given.
But being able to quickly say like, oh, here's what we use. Because our industry is so vendor driven, for
Mhm.
better or worse, that it's almost a shorthand for like
Yeah.
what you do, right?
It's
It
like,
is,
where do you fall in?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it says a lot without having to say too much.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Colleen. So this is Colleen, who we met at, I met anyways at Data Council. She says this feels incredibly timely, given that I
Oh,
met you
nice.
both at Data Council. So
Hey, Colleen.
thanks for tuning in, Colleen. It's good to have you here. And then Atanas, me too, Ryan. You are great. Ah, shucks, Atanas. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So number one, get your pitch down.
Yep. Yep.
Number two.
Okay, I would say number two, and of course I'm a little bit biased here, but I would say number two is actually go to the expo hall, meet all the vendors. You'll get the opportunity to pick up swag, but also you'll get to hear their pitch. And why the pitch is important is not because, maybe you're going to buy something from them, but it's so you can start to formulate your understanding of the analytics market and see where everyone fits in, understand where you fit in, and kind of like get an understanding of just all the pieces and how they come together, which is really important when you're looking for new tools or, making a job change and trying to understand how the world works. So even if you're not in the market to buy something, stop by the vendor booths and just engage in a conversation, and you will find that they're not sharks. They're just people trying to get through the conference like you, and they'll be very friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I try to be when
Yeah,
I'm,
same.
at the booth. I'm curious, do you think, is it helpful because one thing that obviously happens is the vendors are there to meet people and all that, but they're there to find prospects and
Of
clients.
course.
So how upfront do you think people should be? Like when you're talking to a vendor, should you just say like, yeah, I'm looking for a data quality tool right away? Or should you kind of keep that to the vest and see what it is they have to say
Mhm.
first?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it were me, I would probably keep it a little close to the vest and see, they're always going to ask, okay, how are you different from this tool that we already have? What are your differentiators, et cetera? So unless you want to hear exactly what you're asking for, because so many tools do so many different things and you can make a case, that you solve every problem, right? Maybe keep it a little close to the vest, hear what they have to say organically, and then, once you get that, reveal a little bit more. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah. Because certainly there's a temptation as a vendor, whatever problem someone comes up to you with, you're
We
like,
can
oh, yeah,
solve
we can
it.
definitely do that.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Yeah. We do. We
Mhm.
ETL tool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When it's like a, charting library.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, here's a suggestion again here. Who's this from? This is Colleen again. How to introduce yourself to a vendor. I have no interest in your product, but your swag is awesome. Can I have a t-shirt? And I actually think that's a totally fair way to introduce yourself to a vendor. We brought the t-shirts to give them away.
Yeah.
So
That's totally fair.
you don't have to come up and pretend that you're in market for a BI tool to get a good data t-shirt. If you are in market for a BI tool, do come get a t-shirt. But even if you're not,
Yeah.
just come say hi and say, yeah, it's a cool shirt. I think we have cool shirts here at Good Data personally.
Yeah.
But that's a great way to do it too. If you just want a t-shirt too, I would say it's easy to just say, yeah, I just want the swag. People say that.
People say that. Yeah. And they're shameless, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Like, come up, say, that's a cool water bottle. Can I have one? And we'll just say, yeah, and give it to you. And we won't pitch you or anything. It's fine.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So point number one,
Have your pitch.
have your
down.
pitch. Point number
Here's the
two,
pitch.
don't be afraid of the vendors,
Don't be
basically.
afraid of vendors.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Point number three, and this varies, I guess, conference to conference on what's available or offered, but usually there are sub communities, after events, kind of like add-on activities happening, maybe workshops, whatever. I would say try to maximize the attendance of those types of special events as much as possible. Maybe there's a women's lunch, maybe there's I don't know, something special, some happy hour for something special. The more you try to engage on those, in my opinion, closer knit, smaller types of activities, the easier it is to connect with people one-on-one. And I mean, for me personally, it's just like less overwhelming than a big conference. So I would say definitely see what's offered and try to take advantage of it.
Now, what do you think? Because a lot of kind of there's community events around the conference, and then there's like the vendor parties.
Mhm.
Would you say is there a distinction between those two, or how you would approach like a community event versus a vendor party?
I mean, a vendor party is going to feel different than a community event, just in a variety of ways. In terms of approaching them, what I'm mainly referring to is a community event, like a special industry breakout or something like that, a round table for people in whatever line of business. That's kind of what I have in mind. In terms of vendor parties, they're just, trying to get an audience, try to connect with people, which is totally fine. Go take advantage of that. But
Yeah, drink the drinks,
you're
eat the
probably not
food.
going to get out as much in those as an attendee as you would in the community-driven events.
Yeah, yeah. And so the community-driven event, then, would you say the primary point of that is to meet other people like you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great. Okay. So we've got number one, have your pitch down. Number two, don't be shy with the vendors. Number three, attend the community and prioritize the community events
Yes.
as a number one place. Do you think, kind of tied to the community events, occasionally I talk to someone at a conference who's like, I'm here to find a job.
Yeah.
They may even be currently employed, but they're there to find a job. Do you have, do you think that would be effective, or do you have any experience, or do you know anybody who maybe got a job at a conference or anything like that?
I don't think I do personally. It's one thing to be open and want to network for the future and stuff like that. I think like everyone should always be doing that. But coming to a conference just for the sole purpose of getting a job and like going up to vendors to say, hey, are you hiring? Like, feel free to do that. But I don't think that the vendors who are there have people who have people in attendance who are like educated on the openings across the entire company and have like the right information for you. So if it comes up organically, like cool, and maybe they could refer you or something if they happen to know of a role, but it's probably not going to be, oh yeah, we have these 5 openings and they're for analytics engineers and you could be remote and yeah, give me your resume. So I probably wouldn't expect too much if that was your goal.
Yeah. Yes, certainly the people who were there from the vendors themselves, unless you're a sales engineer or an account executive, they're not going to, if you're a data engineer, you work on the data team, or you're in HR or whatever it is, the people from the vendor who are going to be there are going to be the product person or two, and then sales team.
Unless it's like an opening on their direct team, they're probably not going to know about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So number 4.
Okay. My next 2 are a little bit more tactical, I will say. My number 4 is wear comfy clothes and shoes. Because, okay, it's a very important consideration. You're going to be standing a lot. You're going to be walking a lot. You're going to be sitting. And at a moment's notice, you might be meeting with a vendor, a prospect, a partner, whoever. You need to be put together enough, but like also comfortable to kind of get through a whole day of unknowns. Maybe you get invited to a dinner. Maybe you get invited to a happy hour, and you want to be able to say yes to all of those things. You don't want to have to worry about going back to the hotel room to change your shoes. Like, especially conferences in Vegas, like gym shoes, honestly, there. But yeah, so it's a little bit more practical, but be comfortable.
Be comfortable. There's one thing you'll find in data conferences is there's just a huge range of how casual they are. They're a lot more casual than they used to be. Like at those IBM conferences you and I used to go to. I mean, I was in a suit every day and a tie often.
I think I was in like a pantsuit or like a skirt suit.
Exactly. And you're unlikely to find that at a data conference nowadays. But based on the industry, based on the region, like here at the WIT conference, the Great Lakes Data Analytics and AI Summit. Gotta get the name right.
Yes, of course.
People are a lot more formal than they were at, say, Data Council. Like
actually, yes.
There are guys here wearing jackets. And I knew that coming in, so I put on the collared shirt.
And I did. I did not think that would be the case,
you've got the branded t-shirt.
I'm being authentically myself. So
that's right.
It's okay.
So there's a little bit of read the room a little, but
little.
I agree. Like especially at big conferences, multi-day conferences,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
you really need to prioritize your ability to get through it comfortably. It's nothing will ruin your time. Like if your feet really hurt, that will ruin your conference
Yeah,
experience.
because then you're going to cut stuff short. You're going to want to go back. You're going to want to sit down. Like you don't want to have to hold yourself back. So just plan for comfort, and then you'll be set and can take the most advantage of everything.
Yeah, great. Okay. So number 4, plan for comfort.
Yes.
Now number 5.
Okay, number 5 has to do with networking. And this was something actually one of our colleagues turned me on to at, I think it was DBT Coalesce. So on LinkedIn, if you click in the search bar on the app, there's a little scanner icon that comes up, and then you can scan someone else's, like it basically is, I think, a QR code, and you can scan each other's LinkedIns and then automatically connect with them. And so I think my recommendation, or what to keep in mind, is like other people here are also wanting to network and connect. And so it's not weird if you say, hey, can I get your contact details so we can follow up later? Or do you want to connect on LinkedIn so we can keep in touch? Whatever. Don't feel like shy to do that, because everyone who was coming to the event like had in their mind that that would be a possibility and still decided to show up. So you can feel free to use that LinkedIn feature, which is pretty cool and easy.
That is a super pro tip.
Mhm.
So that like the LinkedIn QR code scanning app is huge.
Yeah.
And the other thing a next level strategy for that I learned at the last conference was you want to have them scan your code, because then the connection acceptance is in your LinkedIn inbox.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's in their LinkedIn inbox, and
I
they may, after the fact, be like, "I don't actually want to connect to that guy."
Oh, no.
Right? So that's the other way to do it is you make them scan your QR if you want to really.
Okay.
I learned
That
this.
is a pro tip.
You'll never believe this, but I learned this from a VC. So right, this is VC logic.
Right.
But it
I would
works.
expect nothing less,
I know.
honestly.
Well, they're all about efficiency. Those
Mhm.
guys, efficiency in Patagonia.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that works actually,
Mhm.
because then the inbox. I mean, you really, it's important actually. There's a whole data scene. I mean, if you're watching this show, you don't need to be told this. You're most likely watching on LinkedIn, but it's really very useful. I will tell you, the last time I was looking for work, I posted on LinkedIn that I was available, and I got
Yeah.
50 outreach messages in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, and if you're opting into data conferences in the first place, that means you want to be part of that community and
Yeah.
that conversation that's happening on LinkedIn. So why wouldn't you also want to be connected to the people that you talk to?
Absolutely. Okay. So those are the top 5s. Running down them, let's see if I can get them out of memory. Okay. Number 1, get your pitch ready. Number 2, don't be afraid of vendors. Number 3 was go to the community events. Number 4 was dress comfortably and wear good shoes. And number 5 was connect on LinkedIn. And specifically use that QR code feature on the app. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Other than like searching for people's names and stuff.
Yeah.
Now we do have a comment here from some guy, Eric Dolly.
Oh,
Who says, I did work for Uber and wore a suit coat the first day. Everyone else was basically in pajamas. So there is definitely
that's the read the room.
That's the read the room
on one side of the spectrum.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like around here when we go on site at a Detroit-based client.
Yeah, of course you dress up a little bit.
They're more likely to be wearing something like what I'm wearing. Whereas if you go on site in San Francisco, you know, half the people who said they would meet you there will call in from Zoom.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm curious, in your mind, of the conferences you've been to, ever, but
okay.
What one's your favorite?
Easy.
Easy?
So easy.
Okay.
DBT Coalesce.
Yeah.
So easy.
Why?
I think that's a great question, because if you think about like all the different things going on, it's really not that different. You know, there are breakout sessions, there are workshops, it's at a hotel in a major city. Like, what makes it different? But I think it's the community of people that it attracts. It is a very forward thinking, kind of like open to different approaches, using modern technologies in different ways type of a group. There's a lot of diversity in the group. And it just like honestly felt so welcoming. Like I'm the type of person who's not really into conferences, even though I go to a lot of them, but that's to kind of get more comfortable with putting myself out there, which has to do with my tip number 6, actually. But yeah, it's just like has such a good vibe, and everyone is very collaborative, low feeling of competition. And yeah, it's just a great community feel.
I agree.
I don't know how else to explain it.
No, that it's a vibe
It's a
at that
vibe,
conference,
honestly. And next year it's moving to Vegas.
which is a different vibe.
I'm a little worried that the vibe is going to get shifted, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's legit. I mean, Vegas conferences are just different.
Yeah.
I think DBT has to close more enterprise business, and Vegas is the town you go to do that.
It is. I get it. Like you get to a certain size and then the conference is in Vegas. So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
okay. I just hope that they retain some of those qualities that make it such a great conference to attend.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like the DBT Coalesce conference more than any other conference, as far as the yeah, you mentioned diversity. Like has the highest percentage of women, I think, of any tech conference I've
For
ever
sure.
been to,
That's probably why I love
by
it.
a lot, and good for them.
Yeah.
There's also it's very young. Like at
Very
the
young.
DBT conference, I'm 41. I'm really old.
I felt old as well. Yes.
Yeah. So
But it's cool. It's like a young, like very energetic, exciting group to be a part of.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last pieces of advice?
Well, my 6th tip was just, come with an open mind. Everyone who's attending these sorts of things, like basically related to the last point, is in some way there to network. Personally, I'm an introvert. I don't love conferences and these types of things, but I guess I just try to remember that like it's a level of awkward for everyone to a certain extent. So if you just go, show up with an open mind, good intentions, try to connect, be friendly, like you're gonna walk away with a positive experience. So I would just encourage everyone to do it more, and then you'll get more comfortable, which is kind of what's happened to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you have it, folks. Advice from a real data conference going pro here, Greta Brower. Greta, where can people keep up with you?
Oh my gosh. Now this is a question I was not prepared for. I think just LinkedIn. Greta Brower on LinkedIn. That's it. I don't have any other channels.
Okay. Great. Well, we're going to wrap things up here, folks. A half hour early today because we've got stuff to do at the conference. And so I want to thank you for joining. As always, great. Thank you for joining the show, Greta.
Thanks for
I've known Greta
having me.
forever. It's a real pleasure to have you.
First time on the show.
First time, yeah.
I still tried to wiggle out of it, but it was actually fun. Just like my 6th tip, it's good to do these types of things.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
I mean, I would say that is if you get an opportunity to do something like this at a conference, which often does come up, think about taking it. All right. So we're going to end it there. As always, tune in here every Thursday, usually at noon, today at 1 due to conference scheduling. Typically, my brother Eric joins us. If this is your first time watching, you can catch us live on LinkedIn and YouTube, 12 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Central European time, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, I think. Yeah. So until next time, I'm Ryan.
I'm Greta posing as Eric.
And we are the Super Data Brothers. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.